We live.
We are live. We need to stop,
Okay.
so we're good.
No, go ahead. I'll figure it out.
All right. So the topic today couldn't have come at a better time. A couple days ago, in one of Dr. Mercola's articles, there was an interview he did with Paul Saladino regarding sunlight and the benefits beyond vitamin D3. And just yesterday in the office, a patient came to me and said, "My sister, she's a nurse. She said in the summer I don't need to take vitamin D3 anymore because it's the summertime." And I thought we could flesh some of that out, but primarily talk about how beneficial sunlight is above and beyond vitamin D3 production.
Absolutely. And I can't find where I put mine. So I have the notes somewhere, but I can't find them. So you're going to have to
All
lead
right,
today.
I'll lead and you fill in, buddy. So first
Yep.
thing that I find interesting and I agree is it was just sunlight was described as basically a nutrient, just like a carbohydrate, just like a fat, just like a protein. And man, the way sunlight makes my body feel, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. It's you have stories going back of people that are aeritarians and they are getting their nutrients literally from the sun. Um, which is really interesting. So it's really important to get out there and the circadian rhythm thing. They're saying get out there like first thing in the morning. What is it like the first 30 minutes after you wake up? Was that what I read
Just
last time?
well, whenever the sun starts rising, you
Right,
kind of and there's probably a 30-minute window. You want
right,
you it behooves you to be outside for that
yes,
circadian rhythm benefit with the sun rising to switch that cortisol. It'll cause your cortisol to raise, and then in the evening, that circadian rhythm it causes the drop in cortisol and the increase in melatonin, and that's benefited by the first sunlight on your body in that 30-minute window in the beginning of the day.
absolutely. Cool. What else we
The
got?
other thing beyond vitamin D3 is that UVA on your skin creates nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a vasodilator, and that's important for a variety of reasons, opening up blood cells. That's also is one of the reasons why certain supplements like arginine and citrulline and things like that were really important during the whole COVID crisis because they were vasodilators. And the sun does that through nitric oxide production.
Yeah, if you can get this naturally, it is obviously a better way of doing things. Um, but there are quite a few products. There are quite a few foods. Beets, for example, help release nitric oxide, uh, and it is a vasodilator. So anytime that you can dilate those blood vessels, open the cells up so that they can get more nutrients in, it's a good thing. So, and personally, for me, I respond better to L-arginine than to citrulline. I know Andrew Uberman on his podcast has talked about citrulline. And it's funny, I respond better to L-arginine the same way I respond better to CoQ10 than to ubiquinone. And that's just me. I'm a unicorn.
Yep, yep. You and I both listen to most of the things that Rob Wolf put out, and he always talks about on top of vitamin D3, the sunlight on your skin also in your body creates all sorts of other steroids, meaning that there's a whole ton of things that are created
Yeah.
when you're out in the sun beyond vitamin D3, and the list is infinite.
Yeah, and there's things that we don't even know that it does. They haven't even been discovered yet. So the list is long and continues to grow as we learn more.
Right. Having sun on your skin is definitely an immune system booster and has been shown throughout history to create and foster wound healing.
Mhm. That's
And
brilliant. Yep.
yeah, and one of the and you kind of touched upon this in the beginning. I read a book many years ago, in the height of the tuberculosis, um, whatever you want to call it. I don't
Yeah.
think it was a pandemic, but whatever. Uh, there were places in Switzerland and around the world where they were literally just treating people with fresh air around 60, 65 degrees in sunlight.
Hmm.
And they had an enormous recovery rate because of the fresh air, because of the surroundings, and because of the sunlight at that 60-degree, 65-degree was creating an incredible immune boost in their body, and they were able to fight and survive a devastating disease like tuberculosis.
It is amazing. And tuberculosis has basically been eradicated, basically due to sanitation. So,
Yep.
good
But
stuff.
the one right before, just we'll talk a little bit about vitamin D3, is that it has possible effects on your microbiome. And I'm sure that's true. And we know that your microbiome dictates so many things in your body,
Yep.
from vitamin and mineral production to immunity to digestion to gastrointestinal health to brain health, because all your most of your neurotransmitters are created down below and then transported up to your brain.
Yeah,
So, and that makes sense too, right? You feel better when you're in the sun, right?
absolutely.
So, and in the oh,
Go ahead. No, the interesting thing is taking that a step further. You and I have talked about this in our lectures for the last 15 years. Is in the Northeast, you can't make any vitamin D on your skin from basically October, November, all the way through to April. It is very interesting because when we talk about the microbiome, it is really the second brain. And if indeed what they're saying is true, which I believe it is, again, it would play into that. This is why people get sicker during the winter months.
it certainly does.
Yeah,
It's an easy correlation to make, right?
yeah, absolutely,
And then
absolutely.
the final thing is just vitamin D3. We talk about it all the time. You talked about it. We talked about it at the beginning, and we've talked about it for 18 years. That being in the sun creates vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 upregulates hundreds and hundreds of genes. It's immune boosting. It's bone strengthening. The vitamin D that you produce from the sun is far better than in the supplement form, and the list goes on and on.
And again, it is exactly like when you have kimchi or you get a probiotic, like you're just getting trillions in the natural form versus in a supplement form. In the winter months, wherever you are, you do need to supplement even more so than during the summer. So I would not agree with what that nurse said to the sister of your patient, I guess it was. But you may need to use less
Great.
if you're getting in the sun. For
If you're getting it, it's up.
for us, I mean, think about it. We're in the office from 10 to 6. We miss all of that unless we happen to get out at lunchtime.
Hey, there we go,
So,
Mike. We got a question, Mike. We got a question. Here we
oh,
go.
there we go.
It's actually my aunt, from Aunt Linda, Aunt Linda Stevens. How much
Okay.
time should you spend in the sun daily for adequate amounts of natural vitamin D? Good question.
What is it 20 minutes produces 20,000 IUs? Is it basically an hour a minute?
Yeah, it's you definitely want 20 minutes, but it is pretty much full body exposure. Meaning you can't be out there having your forearms exposed in your head. You need to maybe have a crop top on, shorts, and get out there for 20 minutes. And then the second thing, Mike, and we talk about this all the time, is you can't go out in the sun for 20 minutes, then go inside and take a shower. Because what happens is the vitamin D is created in your body, it kind of like bubbles up on your skin, and then your body absorbs it back in. If you
Right.
go right back in and wash it off with soap and water, you don't absorb it. So you need a good couple hours for that whole
Yeah.
process to be effective.
And that comes directly from our friend and mentor, Dr. Joe Mercola. He spoke about this at one of the UAC meetings we were at, and the researchers that are doing this type of research won't bathe for hours later. So, Aunt Linda, you got to get out there in the sun, shorts, t-shirt, as much exposure as possible, where you're not getting in trouble.
She's living way up north near Buffalo, so she's got to really pay attention to her son.
Oh
But
yeah,
uh, that's the really important thing is that, and we've talked about this too, Mike, recently, that, you know, everybody suggests put on suntan lotion and go out in the sun. We don't, we don't suggest it. We suggest go out in the sun first, and then if you need to put on suntan lotion, then put on the suntan lotion.
Absolutely. 20 minutes to an hour, dependent upon your skin type, and then put the suntan lotion on. And I think that is a far better way of doing it. It is really important to get sun exposure on your skin.
Yep. Well, I hope you guys found this to be informative. We are open now, basically from 3 to 6, full staffed. And as always, be awesome and never unawesome.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.